For years, I've heard that Breaking Bad might be the best show that has ever been made for TV. And for years, my response to this statement has been, wouldn't know, never seen it. I set out to change that and bring you with me on this podcast. Hi, and welcome to Belated Binge, the podcast that doesn't take itself or the show too seriously. I'm Zach, your host, here to let you relive your favorite shows, like Breaking Bad, which ended over 10 years ago, and I'm watching for the first time. However, if you're familiar with this podcast, you'll know that I actually started this a while ago. I did the first 4 episodes like a year ago. Somehow it's been that long. Because I stopped, because life happened, whatever. I don't know. I won't rehash why I took a step back, but, I did. Here's the thing. As I was digging through my notes, I realized I actually finished watching season 1. I just hadn't recorded all of my reactions. So I kind of thought, what a fun way to get back into Breaking Bad by seeing and sharing what my initial reactions were this late in the game. After so much time had passed. I don't know. We'll see. I have no doubt that I had plenty to say. I will have made predictions. I will have had theories, and they're all will have been wrong, I'm sure. I'm going to look like an idiot. And since it's been so long and I refuse to watch and revisit my notes before doing this, I'm probably going to make fun of my past self as we do this. So grab your gas masks and chemistry sets as I react to my reactions of the 5th episode, Gray Matter.
The Belated Binge Podcast.
Before we get started, there will be no spoilers because I have no idea what happens in this show aside from this dude becoming a meth dealer. There will be some language. Earmuff the children. Shout out to the bonus binge squad on Patreon, patreon.com/belatedbinge. We left off, like a year ago in the last episode where Walt had finally told his family about his cancer. Everyone's mad at him. His wife is insisting on the most expensive non-insurance covered doctors and treatments, and she's trying to control everything. And little buddy Jesse just brought Walt $4,000 for his share of the first batch of meth he made. Remember, it was perfect. It was glass and art. But he's decided he's not ready to become a drug kingpin. Not yet. And the brother-in-law is investigating the new kingpin that does exist, who makes the best meth ever. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump in. This is where the silliness is bound to ensue. All right, so, I forgot. I was also doing this in the style where I literally was watching and I was typing notes as I was watching, like as fast as I could go. So it's literally like a play-by-play of the whole episode and what I was thinking at the time that I was watching it. This is going to be, is this what Meta is supposed to be? Not Facebook. This is what Meta is supposed to be. Anyways, whatever. We open on little buddy Jesse in a suit. He's trying to get an entry-level job that is actually entry-level. Notice to all marketing employers, entry-level means entry-level, not 5 years of experience. Anyways, but he still wants to nervously sell his experience and resume very awkwardly. And a self-starter in sales is what he's going with. And this isn't a sales job. Turns out it's a sign flipper job. Yes. That's what I put in here. Yes. I was excited about that. He walks out and the current sign flipper actually knows who he is, which is great. This dude's walking around in a mascot suit, flipping a sign and talking about probation. He's also smoking weed in the alley on the clock and asking for meth. So clearly his rehabilitation was successful. And apparently he can help with some ingredients if Jesse doesn't decide to retire which is a very interesting way to put it. The job hunt is obviously not going particularly well, and he's already caving. Credits. All right. Walt and the wife are bringing a stupid gift to some party for something or someone that didn't want gifts. That sounds like adulthood right there in a nutshell. It turns out it's a fancy pool party. Holy shit, a prom dress from 1985. Did Nagging Wife just make a good joke? Again, directly from my notes. I still have hope that she's going to turn into an awesome character. Like Hermione. Oh, this ought to be good. The first couple of books of Harry Potter, she's pretty controlling, know it all ish, and annoying. And she turns into the real hero of the story and maybe my favorite character of the later books. Not sure if I'm committed to that take or not. We'll see. But that's what I hope Naggy Wife turns into on this show. For now, though, not yet. Walter is so hung up on this gift. And honestly, like, what's funny about this, as I'm going through this, I can see it. It's been a year since I've watched this episode. Reading back my notes, I can see it clear as day. What you don't know is some of these notes are literally what I had written at the time. And some of the things I'm literally ad-libbing because I can remember vividly seeing these scenes in my brain. I think this is why I like this style of podcasting. Because as you describe the show for the listener, they get to re-experience the actual show, the episode, or the chapter if you're doing a book series, like vividly. They know exactly what it is, and then you can break it down and talk about it. It's like they get to do the rewatch even if they're not actually watching it. Anyways, back to the notes. It's Elliot's birthday. Who the fuck is Elliot? And who is Gretchen? Is she the one that's in all these chemistry memories? Oh, and they want to have a baby too. And Walt doesn't like that. This is awkward as shit. What are we doing here? Yeah, that sounds right. Walt left Naggy Wife somewhere and goes snooping around this house. I feel like this is something where he's thinking about the life he should have had. And the patent he mentioned, the wealth, maybe the girl. And he's a broke ass teacher with cancer and a nagging wife. Oh, more people. At Caltech, he was apparently the man, and these were his circles. And he's telling the story that I've been asking and confirms my suspicions. He and Elliot were partners creating this company or whatever it is that made this dude rich. And Walt became a teacher. No regrets. Wait, this is gift time. People actually do this? Fuck yes. Naggy Wife for the win. And I think this is because she's making fun of the fact that we're actually crowded all around with grown-ups opening gifts and reading off the cards. And she says, is this dude 8 years old? There should be an inflatable bouncy house and finger painting at this party. What a fucking douche. And I'm loving Naggy Wife in this episode. We're going to see the stupid gift, and this dude is eating it up and telling a big-ass story about it. How touching. And yeah, I can see it. I can see the scene. I can remember it vividly, and it is so cringe. How long is this party? Oh, memory lane. Great. These guys obviously didn't have too hard of a falling out because they're chumming it up, quite a bit. Let's get together more often. We'll have you over for dinner, all this crap. This guy wants to actually work together again. And past self asks, is he offering him a job? And Walt's going to say no, to be a drug kingpin instead. And this is going to come back to some personal thing. The girl, perhaps? Oh, he's going the cancer route. Excellent health insurance. That's got a shot. And it's a pity offer. And Walt is pissed. That feels more like Naggy Wife. She told the guy about the cancer. Yep. Now cue the argument. And Walt doesn't want the guy to pay for his treatments either, but Naggy Wife did want him to pay for the treatments. What a weird, it's a weird move all around. And now it's icy at breakfast. So next day, I guess. Walt Jr. is kind of like, what the fuck? And just bolts for the bus. Clearly not a happy day in the White household. Little Buddy, though, has a delivery. It's sign flipper guy. Bullet holes for ventilation. Great call. He apparently learned a lot about the beakers from Walt, and this dude brought a whole shit ton of cold medicine a la Sudafed, and he brought a crossbow and Cheetos. And now we have a meth montage. This batch is going to turn out like garbage. The sign guy is a total dildo, completely useless. Wow. I have nothing to add. The notes are spot on. And now we're buying what? Walt Jr. is buying? No, he's selling. No, he's not selling. He's going to ask for beer. And the guy's a cop. And he called his quote unquote dad, AKA the DEA uncle. And he's right about being a dick move to call him instead of Walter. The DEA guy is a douche, but he's probably the best, like, side character in this show so far. And Naggy Mom isn't happy about all this, and nobody knows where Walt is. The uncle slips about the pot, which was the wrong Walter, and the sister ran with it. You remember that from like a year ago when we talked about it. The uncle thinks that it's pretty funny. Walt smoking dope. And now Naggy Wife wants an intervention for Walt. She's back to being the worst. But where is Walt? He's not making meth with Little Buddy. Sign flipper dude is stoked, and Jesse is pissed. His meth did not come out perfect like Walter's. Sign flipper wants to smoke it, and Little Buddy turned to business overnight, which is actually good, right? Like, and it makes sense to have this experience for Little Buddy to go out on his own and kind of deal with a worse version of himself in the way that Walt was dealing with him, so that he can kind of grow up a little bit. I have to imagine that he needs to grow up a little bit for these two to actually become drug kingpins. But now Walt is home for his intervention, and this is going to be painfully annoying. And past self, you're correct. It was, I remember. And there's a cheese plate, which will definitely make it better. And everyone's there, even Walter Jr. And we're back to Jesse, unhappy with his meth again. This one must not have taken as long. And Sign Flipper goes junky, and now we're fighting in the RV. Little Buddy kicks him out and leaves. And the crossbow. That seemed to work well, shooting an RV with an arrow. Okay. Back at the intervention, Naggy Wife is going first. Obviously, because she has the talking pillow. Walt's not even allowed to talk. More talking pillow. Fuck, this sucks. That's verbatim from the notes right there. Brother-in-law using cards and gambling analogy, then a baseball analogy. At least he's trying. He's clearly very uncomfortable with the whole situation, but he's doing his best. And Walter Jr., this is bullshit. That's his line. And yes, it is. And now he's hitting home. Can't wait to hear what the sister-in-law has to say. Do what you want to do. What's the catch? She's finally talking sense. Walt is the one with cancer, and he gets no say in anything. And now the truth comes out. Naggy Wife, Skylar, this isn't about Walter. This is about her. Walt takes the pillow to stop the catfight chaos. And he's going to give a speech. And what he wants is a choice. AKA, Shut the fuck up. And Naggy Wife refuses to let him have a choice. And the actor does a great job of showing the emotion behind a man who wants to live whatever time is left without the misery of intense chemo. It's truly an impressive performance. And that's not just past self saying so. That was the shining moment in that scene as I remember it. The whole thing was a cringy bag of dicks. And yet you felt it when Walter spoke. And it doesn't look like he slept much. He's alone in the bed the next morning, and now he's smelling her pillow and her cream, and he just wants to feel close to his wife while he's alive. But she's too mad, and because he won't fight to live longer. What a shit show of a situation that I can't imagine, and I hope that I never have to live through. And here we go. Kitchen cuddling, and he agrees to treatment because of her. This dude really loves Naggy Wife. Oh, and what fun. The doctor waiting room. Not sure what Walter Jr. was laughing at. Oh, Naggy Wife says that they're paying with a credit card and asks if Elliot is sending a check. Walt says he'll go ahead and take care of it. And that's it. Meth Kingpin, here we come. He doesn't want to accept charity. He doesn't want to disappoint his wife. And he's going to do the treatment that's out of network, and he's going to pay for it with drug money. It finally all clicks into place. We've got a meth dealer on our hands. And saran wrap. They're wrapping him in saran wrap and vacuum sealing him like a meat package that they want to freeze. And here he is, little buddy's house, right? Oh, phone call stops him. Hey, Elliot. Fake out. Gretchen. She wants to have a heart-to-heart over the phone. Pretty rough timing, lady. There's got to be history here beyond this, like, company thing, which there is. She confirms it. He won't take the money. He lies that insurance is paying. Is it really his money? The thing that I was trying to figure out as I was watching, and I'm still not really sure, is half the company name is Walt's, and he hasn't gotten a payout. Like, they have to explain this somehow, in some way, right? This dude is teaching high school chemistry and washing students' cars. Her and this guy, Elliot, are living some luxurious mansion on a company profit that Walt helped build. And that math doesn't math for me. But let's get to the thing. My notes say, yes, little buddy's house. Let's fucking go. We're cooking meth tonight. Are they going to hug? No hug. Just want to cook? And that was the episode. We're finally getting somewhere. And I think this went kind of well for the time gap. But my synopsis is that there's a lot of disappointment that Naggy Wife got my hopes up, being funny and sarcastic in the beginning of the episode, and then went right back to being manipulating Naggy Wife. I'm starting to come around on the brother-in-law. As I mentioned earlier, as I was going through that, he was the most annoying kind of douche in the first episode. And now I'm feeling like the dude's just trying to be supportive. And he's trying to make his wife, and by extension, her sister, happy. He wants to be there for Walter Jr., even if his methods are a little rough around the edges. He's probably going to suck again soon. But he is starting to grow on me. And I am interested to see what happens when the meth and the brother-in-law come to head. They finally collide. And unfortunately, while it's telegraphed by the nature of the show, I did see the other day, and this is Zach in real time talking. By accident, I was scrolling through some social media something, and I did see a picture with those two on it, and the caption before I could avert my eyes said something to the effect of um when the brother-in-law uh catches Walt or whatever. So I know that that's going to come at some point in time. I've done my best to avoid spoilers, but again, it was telegraphed. You don't have the DEA agent brother-in-law with the high school chemistry teacher becoming a meth cook without those two lives intertwining and there being some sort of, you know, conflict of interest for the brother-in-law, right? Like that there's no world where that's not where we were headed. So I don't feel like it was a spoiler, it was more a confirmation of what I already knew was going to eventually happen in this show. Uh Little Buddy, he's somebody that I yeah, has really grown on me in his character. I don't know how I feel about his growth just yet. Um, he it feels like he did a character arc in 5 episodes. He started completely useless, and now he's acting all business and perfectionist about his meth. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier in the episode when I started rambling or ranting, is that he needed some sort of growth in order for this thing with him and Walter to work out, because it wasn't going to work out in their previous relationship. He was too unserious. He was too much of a liability. And he was not the type of partner that Walter needed, because Walter doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Even though this show portrays him to be an expert when he needs to be an expert and a novice when it needs him to be a novice. That's a complaint that I just have about the first season so far, remembering back on it. And I'm sure we'll get to it at some point in time to talk about that even more. But he in doing it with the sign flipper guy and having Little Buddy have that experience and almost have like I mentioned a few minutes ago, like a heightened version or a worse version of himself to have to experience and deal with, to then be able to kind of elevate himself um to where he needs to be, to where he's a good partner for Walt, I think is smart. It just seems like it may have happened kind of quickly. This show is weirdly, it does a weird thing so far where it like it and it's funny, I just happened to look down at my notes that I wrote way back then, and it literally says, I don't think it's an accident that they brought in the sign flipper to show that. You kind of needed someone who was more useless than Little Buddy to really show how he's growing in maturity. uh, I guess my thoughts don't change too much over the course of a year, because yeah, I don't but back to the timing thing, like, I remember back to the first episode of this show covering a span of, like, 2 or 3 weeks, and then the second episode of this show, they literally spent, like, the whole thing in the living room talking. Like, it drug on. The show is a slow burn in a lot of ways, but then other stuff, it just, like, super speeds up and gets us where we're gonna go. Walt is a high school chemistry teacher, and we need him to become a meth cook. So, first episode over the course of 3 weeks, here we are. We're going to be broke. Our life sucks. Cancer diagnosis. Bam. Meth cook. First episode. But then, like I said, the actual if your plot lines taking place after that took forever. Everything moved at a snail pace. And now we've got Jesse kind of doing this character arc, this growth, this maturity over the course of 5 episodes in the first season, like complete and total screw up, not serious, useless. Through then we see his parents' stuff and his little brother's stuff, and that there might be hope for him to be somewhat kind of mature-ish, but he's not really there yet. Then he deals with somebody that sucks more than him, and all of a sudden, boom, mature. I don't know. That seems fast to me for his growth. But we'll see how the rest of this thing goes. That leads us to the ridiculous predictions that I made, and I knew at the time I would get wrong. I know at this time that I will also be wrong, and in both cases, you can just laugh at me. I thought that the next hurdle is going to be getting the Sudafed. I don't think it was an accident that they dropped that it's hard to get a hold of now in this episode, and that was Sign Flipper's contribution. He had the Sudafed hookup. He's probably not going to be stoked to help out again, so they're going to have to figure out another way to get their Sudafed. Second prediction. I wonder if Walt will engineer some kind of revolutionary recipe for meth that doesn't need it or something wild like that. Probably not, but that seems to be the thing he contributed to the old chemistry company thing, thinking outside of the box, making discoveries. He could bring some kind of innovation to the meth game. And that's all I had on that for predictions. That's all I got for you today. If you enjoyed my reaction to this episode of Breaking Bad, leave a review on whatever app you're using right now. And by the way, we're only going to do this through season 1 that I already have notes for. Once I get to season 2, like we're going fresh again. Okay. I'm not going to write notes about it and then wait a year and read them to you. All right. That's not how this whole thing's going to go. If you would like, though, to join the discussion, there is a free Facebook group for listeners of this podcast, and there's a link in the show notes of this episode. All of the social media and stuff, I am at Belated Binge. And yeah, remember, life is short. Still, maybe don't become a meth dealer. But if you do, buy an RV, wear headphones, and take Belated Binge Breaking Bad wherever that RV takes you.